In this video, what we're going to discuss is Articles 226 to 228 of the Revised Penal Code, and that is your infidelity in the custody of documents. So what are the ways of committing this crime? First can be found in Article 226, that is the removal, concealment, or destruction of documents. Article 227, officer breaking seal, and Article 228, that is the opening of closed documents. So take note again ha, ang tawag dito ay infidelity in the custody of documents. What are the elements of Article 226? Number 1 is the offender is a public officer. Take note ha, sino ang offender? Public officer, hindi private individual. Kasi kung private individual yan, hindi siya pwedeng maging liable ng Article 226. Maybe another crime, like for example, estafa or malicious mischief. Depende. Second is that public officer obstructs, destroys, or conceals a document or papers. Ano ba yung mga papers? That includes paper money, check, or promissory note. Number 3, the reason why the documents or papers are in the hands of the public officer is because it was entrusted to him. It was entrusted to him by reason of his office. And number 4, there must be damage. Damage should have been caused, and that damage is either serious or not. So take note ha, damage to a third party or to the public interest should have been caused. So for application, let's read the bar exam question. A here is an assistant provincial prosecutor of Cebu. So he was assigned to conduct the preliminary investigations of 2 criminal cases. The first case is one for rape against X and the other one is for estafa against Y. But walang kaalam-alam yung mga complainants that X and Y were both classmates, high school classmates of the assistant provincial prosecutor. So what did A do here? A dismissed the rape case kahit overwhelming ang evidence. A also did not file the information for estafa because according to him, the folder which was given by the complainant was stolen. Doon sa folder, naka-attach doon yung dishonored checks and other documents. But contrary to such claim, the folder was kept in a safe in his house. So what offense or offenses was committed by the assistant provincial prosecutor? Answer is Article 208, that is your prevarication. But aside from Article 208, the assistant provincial prosecutor is also guilty of Article 226. Again, ano ba yung Article 226? That is the removal, concealment, or destruction of documents. Let's go back to the elements. First is the offender is a public officer. So here, the offender here is an assistant provincial prosecutor, therefore a public officer. And what did he do? The provincial prosecutor concealed a document, and those documents were entrusted to him by the complainant by reason of his office. And is there damage here? Of course, merong damage to the public interest. Another bar exam question, Kaushi here was arrested for selling 20 grams of shabu. So what did he do? Kaushi paid Patrick. Sino si Patrick? Patrick is the evidence custodian of the PNP chemistry section, forensic chemistry section. So he paid Patrick the amount of 500,000 pesos. What will Patrick do? Patrick will destroy the drugs. So state with reasons whether Patrick committed the crime of direct bribery. Answer is yes. Patrick is guilty of direct bribery. But aside from direct bribery, Patrick also is guilty of Article 226, that is infidelity in the custody of documents. Bakit? Because Patrick here destroyed the shabu, which is an evidence in his official custody. Going back to the elements, take note that again, the offender is a public officer. But itong public officer ay hindi kung sino-sino lang na public officer. That public officer must be officially entrusted with the documents or papers. That is your number 3. He must be officially entrusted with the documents or papers. Bakit? Kung hindi siya officially entrusted, then he could not have been liable of Article 226. There was this case decided by the Supreme Court. The stenographer of an RTC branch here was charged with Article 226. But according to the Supreme Court, the stenographer is not guilty of Article 226 because he is not the public officer officially entrusted with the documents or papers. The public officer who is officially entrusted with the record is not the stenographer but rather the clerk of court. So please take note of that. Article 227, that is officer breaking seal. Offender here is again a public officer. He is in charge with the custody of papers or property, and these papers or property are sealed by proper authority, and he breaks the seals or permit them to be broken. So let's go to Article 228, that is the opening of closed documents. So who is our offender? The offender is again a public officer, and that public officer was entrusted to his custody any closed papers, documents, or objects. Take note, closed papers, documents, or objects. Number 3, the public officer opens or permits to be opened said closed papers, documents, or objects, and he does not have the proper authority. Just take note that in Article 227 and 228, damage or intent to cause damage is not an element. Hindi kagaya dun sa Article 226 kung saan damage is an element of the crime.